It looks like a peaceful river, sunlight on slow water, reflections sliding by as if the world has hit pause. But here, calm is a mask, because in this place, you never really see the true scene. The true scene is underneath, inside the shadow, between mud and sand, where every movement is a risk and every second is a choice. If I told you death can arrive without a bite, without a claw, without a sound, would you believe it? And yet, that's exactly how it works. In these waters lives a predator that doesn't need to chase. It doesn't waste energy. It doesn't put on a show. It waits. And when you misjudge the distance, it switches you off. The electric eel doesn't hunt with speed. It hunts with physics. A pulse travels through the water, through the body, through the nerves. One moment, the prey is walking, digging, defending itself. The next, it stiffens, loses control, becomes exposed. It's terrifying because it's invisible. You don't see the strike, you only see the result. And the lesson nature repeats here is always the same. It's not enough to be armored. It's not enough to be big. It's not enough to be ready. You also have to be lucky. You also have to be alert, because the river is a minefield of rules that keep changing. Look at the riverbed. It's not empty, it's a maze. Branches dragged by the current, clouds of silt, tunnels of submerged vegetation, a perfect habitat for anything that knows how to disappear. And when you can't see, you imagine. And when you imagine, you're often wrong. Then suddenly, someone shows up who isn't supposed to be here. A predator most people associate with the ocean, but one that has learned how to push into fresh water. And when it enters, the tension rises without any need for music, because the bull shark doesn't announce itself, it imposes itself. You don't hear it coming, you understand it from everything else. Sand lifts, fish change direction, the silence becomes too perfect. And in nature, when everything feels too perfect, it usually means something is about to break. The bull shark is power and opportunism. It crosses boundaries, shatters expectations, and reminds everyone that the river is not a refuge. It's just another arena. But there's another kind of danger here too, one that's even more subtle. A danger that doesn't chase you, doesn't charge you, doesn't lock onto you. It simply waits right where you place your foot, or right where you let your guard down. The freshwater stingray looks like a piece of the riverbed. It covers itself in sand and becomes part of the landscape. And that's its greatest weapon, normality. Because the most common mistake in a world full of predators is believing that what you see is all there is. One wrong touch, one step too far, and the underwater forest teaches you a lesson you won't forget. And now everything changes, because you only have to climb the bank, step into the vegetation, leave behind the open light of the river, and nature becomes something else. Here, visibility doesn't exist. Here, shadow is an architecture. And between trunks and leaves, in narrow spaces where light fractures, the most iconic predator of these lands becomes almost impossible to separate from the jungle itself. The jaguar isn't just strong. It knows when to show itself and when to vanish. It doesn't chase for miles. It doesn't waste. It measures. And when it decides, it happens in a flash. A short, precise, devastating explosion. And if you're wondering why it hunts like that, the answer is simple. Here, anything that wastes energy loses. Here, life doesn't offer second chances. There's a moment in the video when you truly understand the weight of the jaguar, not because it wins, but because it chooses. It watches, steps into the water without hesitation, uses the river like a corridor, like cover, like an advantage. That's the difference between a predator and a dominant predator. The ability to turn the environment into a weapon. And yet, even for it, nothing is guaranteed, because near the water, there's always the unexpected, a riverbed that gives way, a prey animal that twists the wrong way, a barb that strikes when you think you already control the scene. In nature, you often don't lose because you aren't strong enough. You lose because you are off by a few inches. And just when you think you've reached peak tension, a different predator enters the story. You don't recognize it by sound. You don't recognize it by speed. You recognize it by certainty. The anaconda doesn't chase in the traditional sense. It closes the distance. It wraps. It takes away space. Then it takes away time. Its body is a mechanism. It doesn't need claws. It doesn't need massive teeth. It needs one thing: contact. One moment, one grip, and then the spiral. It's a hunt that doesn't look like a hunt because there's no frenzy. There's pressure. There's patience. There's a control that's frightening precisely because it's silent. And then you see it, the tapir, an animal that at first glance looks safe because it's big, because it's sturdy, because it feels like it belongs to an older world. But nature doesn't reward age. It rewards attention. And the most dangerous moment for an animal like this is the simplest one: drinking. Lowering the head means losing the view. It means offering the neck. It means handing over 1 second of advantage to something that lives on seconds. And when the anaconda decides, the scene changes in a heartbeat. The river is no longer a place to drink. It becomes a passage, a doorway, a point of no return. And while this happens, the forest around it keeps moving as if nothing is happening. And maybe that's the hardest part to accept. The world doesn't stop. There's no pause, no respect for drama. There's only continuity, life flowing over life. But it doesn't end there, because the jungle doesn't have just one type of predator. It has different predators, each with its own method, each with its own timing. And when the sun shifts, when the light softens and the shadows stretch, another presence arrives. The puma, less theatrical than the jaguar, less massive, but as effective. The puma is the predator of opportunity. It doesn't force the moment. It waits for it. It doesn't create chaos. It uses it. And its greatest advantage is that you often don't notice it until it's too late. A family of tapirs moves through the brush. The young are uncertain. They make tiny mistakes. They hesitate. And in nature, hesitation is a loud signal. It's a light switched on in the dark. The puma reads those signals the way we read bold letters. It knows that sooner or later there will be a slower step, a flicker of distraction, a gap that opens. And when that gap appears, everything happens at once. The leap, the impact, the grip. In an instant, the forest becomes what it truly is, a constant selection. And here it matters to say it clearly, without romanticizing and without demonizing. This isn't cruelty. This isn't malice. It's survival. It's biology. It's a world where energy has to come from somewhere, always. And that's what the video leaves on your skin. Fragility. Not the sad kind, the real kind. Because even predators are vulnerable. Even the winner can get injured. Even the dominant can make a mistake. In this ecosystem, there are no invincible characters. There are only animals that for now have read the scene better. So back to the first question. Does it really look like a peaceful river? Does it really feel like a silent forest? Or is it that we see too little, understand too late, and convince ourselves that calm means safety? In a world full of predators, surviving doesn't mean being the strongest. It means choosing well, when to move and when to freeze, when to drink and when to wait, when to cross and when to turn back. Because here, life is not a right. It's a challenge. Every day, every hour, every breath.